Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. But seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy. This is your main man here, AJ Orsini, and I am your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and I am bequeathing on to all of you episode 61, and it is late AF, okay? I am late. And I apologize. I am giving you my heartfelt, very sympathetic apologies for not being on time. I am usually very not live, excuse me. That's the wrong choice of words. I'm very punctual, I guess you could say, with my show. Even if it's, give or take a few minutes here and there. Generally speaking, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. by going to ajoum.podbean.com, you guys are able to get your fix of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and this Wednesday I have failed you. I have failed you all. There was nothing I can do. It was beyond my control. I feel like such a failure. I do. I really do feel like a failure. I really feel like I did really, really wrong by you guys by not being on time. Yesterday, the lightning bolt hit me on the head based on everything that's been going on with me in the house for the last 3 fucking days. It dawned on me yesterday. It hit me just like this. It did. It hit me just like that. It happened in my head. I realized, holy shit, I am not going to be able to put an episode out today. There's no fucking way. It's going to be impossible to do. That's when I put out the little posting on the Facebook page and in the Facebook group. If you're not following me on that, then you're not up to date on what's happening here in Orsini's Uncensored Mind. All you have to do is go to Facebook and check out the Orsini's Uncensored Mind like page, and then there's the Orsini Uncensored Mind group page. It's actually labeled official group. So check those out, and you will be able to stay abreast of the situation as far as the show goes. And I did put something out earlier in the day yesterday letting you guys know I would not be able to upload an episode yesterday. Now, here we're going to get into the why. It's very important to me as an individual to let all of you know what's been going on in my own little personal world and in my own little personal life, what's been going down in the world of Orsini. Every now and then I'll have a show where I open up with a little bit of insight, a little bit of story about what's going on in my daily life. It's the beauty of having my own show. Now, last week, I left you with a title that was a little off-putting, okay? History, I told you so, all that stuff is pretty innocent, but then I hit you with Bubble Guts. Now, Bubble Guts was a story that I told of a little situation. I was at a friend's house, and it crept up on me, okay? So I had a little bit of a situation. So last week, I shared a very personal shit story. Now, and I don't normally do that. So, considering I just told a shit story last week, I'm trying really hard to find a way not to share a shit story this week. However, the shit story that I told last week pales. It pales in comparison to the story I have for this week. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail because that would be gross. But this past week, last 3 days, as a matter of fact, it's currently Thursday. This whole thing started on Monday. We experienced, and I say we because pretty much the whole house experienced what I could only assume was the Black Plague. The whole house, top to bottom, sick out the wazoo. We're all sick. Now, here's how it started. My son, the little carrier monkey from fucking Outbreak. Okay? We were just talking about this a second ago, as a matter of fact. This happened last year. I just forgot about it because it wasn't to this degree. That's probably why it slipped my mind. But last year, it happened. So my little carrier monkey son, my 3-year-old little ball of joy, who went to school and came back what I could only assume is a super virus. All right, he came home Monday, I think it was. And he wasn't looking too good, but we're like, all right, let him sleep it off or whatever and see what happens. And the fucker wakes up at, I want to say 2 in the morning, asking to go to the fucking bathroom, which he normally doesn't do. He sleeps all night, every night. He wakes up and pisses and shits like a champ, but he stays out all night. This particular instance, he's up at 2 in the fucking morning asking if he can go to the goddamn bathroom. He goes to the goddamn bathroom, and he does a power shit. I mean, power. Comes out. It's almost like his asshole threw it out. With like a strong pitcher arm, he just threw it out. And he's a logger. He's not a spreader. I'm a spreader. His mama's a logger. He's a logger. Okay? Again, TMI, but this is what you get with your show. It's uncensored. So, this guy power shits his brains out at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. We take him back to the bed. It's like 30 minutes later, this fucking guy is saying that he doesn't feel good. He doesn't feel well. Can I come into the bed with you guys? So we're good parents. We let him come into the fucking bed. I think he's in there for about 30 more minutes before he just springs up from the bed and goes, I gotta throw up. So I grab him to go take him to the bathroom to go throw up. We're running through the bedroom, and in the bedroom he just starts going, right? Making a trail to the fucking hallway that leads to our fucking bathroom. So I take him to the bathroom, but by the time he gets to the bathroom, he's barely got anything left. He's driving at this point. So all it is like a J. You know, it comes from my bedroom, does the loop around, and then straight into the fucking bathroom. So he's throwing up his fucking brains out. So we're all looking at each other like, Jesus, what's going to happen now? Someone's going to have to call out or whatever. So I made the decision that I was going to be the one to call out and deal with that. So I call out Tuesday morning from my job to take care of my son. But as luck would have it, as we got closer to the whole call-out time, because remember, this is all still happening relatively early in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, whatever the case may be. We start getting to about 5, 6 o'clock hour, and Daddy's got the rumblies, and I'm not starting to feel too good myself. So my wife decides, listen, I can't have both of you out. You're not going to be any good to each other, so I'll call out too. So she calls out to take care of us. Biggest mistake of her fucking life. Because what happens now is my son is sick. I am sick. I'm not as nearly sick as my son. I'm still functioning, but I do not feel well. As Tuesday progressed, my sick went from about a scale of 1 to 10. My sick went from like 1 to 2 to like 37. By Tuesday evening, or like I'll say like later, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm in a fetal position. I cannot move. I cannot think. I cannot breathe. I'm shitting. I haven't thrown up. My son was throwing up and shitting. I was shitting, and I could not see without wanting to murder someone. I spent most of the day in the tub because it's one thing that made me feel better. It settles my stomach. So that's what I needed. I needed something to settle my stomach because I had shit so much. It went from regular shit to watery shit to what I could only assume is just some black sludge. It was like the bottom of a sewer pipe. I have no idea what was coming out of me. It was like that shit Lightning McQueen was trying to re-cement the road with in Cars 1. It was disgusting. I don't know, like some sort of tar-like material sliding out of me. I have no clue what the hell it was. And I was on empty. There was nothing left to shit. And yet my body ceased on the relentlessness of this shit was amazing. I just kept going and going and going. So my wife, Tuesday evening, we'll say, started bubbling up herself. And she's like, oh man, my stomach. She kept saying, I felt like I have to puke, but nothing's coming out. Nothing's happening. I'm just in this holding pattern. I feel like sometime in the morning I'm going to be feeling it again. And she was half right. It was in the morning. It just wasn't the time period in which she thought. So now my son is actually improving. But as Tuesday progressed, my son improved, I got worse, and my wife was starting to feel it. So now we get into Wednesday. My son is completely fine, so we took him to school. but I'm still sick. I'm just less sick than the day before. My wife now is on DEFCON 4. She's not shitting. She's vomiting. Everything that goes into her comes out plus a little bit of interest. So we were trying to keep her hydrated. We're giving her water, Pedialyte. There's this new thing we found. What is the HydroFlow or some shit? It's like bootleg Pedialyte. It's the ShopRite brand because we done bought all the fucking Pedialytes on our corner. We ran out of Pedialytes. We bought literally all the Pedialytes our corner stores had. We had to go to another fucking place 2 blocks down to get more fucking fluids because we're dying. That little fucking gif I put on Facebook was not a joke. We thought we were dying. We were a red flag in here. Okay, so we got all these fluids and everything she puts in comes right the fuck back out. So we're panicking. Our son's at school. I have to go to class. My wife is trying to figure out if she can even drive to the fucking place to pick our son up. The last 3 days have been a fucking trial. And that's when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to put the fucking the episode up because I didn't even get a chance to do the episode. I'm doing the episode now, Thursday, because in the midst of all that sickness, I still had to study for 2 fucking tests taking place Wednesday. I'm shitting my brains out. I can't see. But my wife, who's holding her fucking gut, is reading physical education facts to me so that I can try to do some form of studying for a test that's happening Wednesday. It was a mess. These 3 days have been a mess. We have to... My house, right now, I'm recording this right in the middle of the house of right now in the living room. This place looks like Mad Max. There is everything all over the place. Because, remember, my son got healthier as we got sicker. So he was essentially watching himself. I mean, he's in the room with us. You know, we're on the couch. And he's in the living room with us. But you ever seen a 3-year-old unsupervised in a room with a bunch of people who don't give a shit that the kid is there? That's exactly what my house is like. There's toys everywhere. I got Legos. I got train tracks. I got a fucking mic set over here. I got all kinds of goofy shit, whiteboard material. I got all kinds of goofy shit just lying around. My house is fucking destroyed. My house is completely upside down. We've had to Lysol everything. We've had to wipe down everything. We've had to basically disinfect this entire house. We're not even done. Because most of the fluids were spread in the bedroom. We still got to get over there and fucking clean shit up. This is a mess. My whole life is fucking upside down right now. So, for those of you wondering what the hell happened yesterday, that's what fucking happened yesterday. The last few days, that's been going on. As you can tell by my voice right now, I'm feeling a lot better than I have the last 3 days. My wife is feeling better. I wouldn't say a lot. She's still feeling the effects, and my son is basically 1,000%. He's back to the old Alex. He's doing just fine. So that's us. That's the health side of everything that's been going on. It's been a crazy 72-hour period, not just in my life. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on, obviously, in the world of wrestling, and in spite of the fact that we've been sick, I think Monday, my son was the only one sick, so I got a chance to look at some stuff, and Tuesday I didn't even see SmackDown because I was the one fucking feeling it. I have no clue what happened. So I have a show that I have to do. And this week, to be honest with you, I wasn't planning on watching any of the shows anyway because I knew I had stuff to do. So I had set aside a topic for this particular show. We were going to sit here and talk about relationships. We were going to sit here. I was going to play Dr. Phil for a little bit for you guys and talk some relationship shit. And I got some stories that people shared with me. And we were going to get into this. We were going to get balls deep into this topic. And yet, as much stuff as I have, I'm still very much unprepared for the conversation because I have a lot of ideas on where I want to take it. And I realized as I started preparing for it that if we're going to talk about relationships, I happen to be in a very successful long-term one, and it would be nice to get the other side of it. So I was thinking about bringing my wife in on this. But like I said, she's still not really 100%. Health-wise, we've got some issues. I'm behind on time. As we speak, she's on the road picking up my son. This is a lot of shit. We're behind on so much shit, not just in our professional lives, but in our personal lives, these last 3 days have really fucked us. When I tell you guys that my life schedule is booked all the time and we're busy all the time, I mean it. So when we get sick in situations like this, it really pushes us back. Big time. It really fucks us. Like, we don't have time to be sick. We don't have it scheduled in that we're just going to not feel well today. We don't really call out of work. We don't really take time off to do what we need to do for ourselves. We do what we have to do. The hustle is always going on. It's always working. You know, a real hustler is always hustling. The hustlers don't take time off, and that's what me and my wife do. We're masters of this shit. We do this shit all the time. This is what we do. All right, we're a badass couple that does badass couple things. So to both be sick together is no bueno. So what I'm going to do, because I do have some other topics that I want to talk about, and I was saving them, but no sense in saving them now since I'm not prepared for the topic that I wanted. So I am going to save the relationship topic for next week. I will do that one with Mrs. O. We will sit here and we will help you guys learn, not just, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do in relationships, but I want you guys to learn all the different types and what happens in these relationships and where things go wrong, in my opinion, and where things could really go right, again, all in my opinion. And I'm going to have some facts to back it up. I'm going to have some other people chime in, tell their stories, their opinions. It's going to be a hell of a conversation. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it, because you guys know me. When I get into these topics, man, I go all the way with it, man. I like to hear stories from other people and really divulge into experiences and let you guys know what's going to happen in the upcoming conversation. So that's that. So we're going to do that next week, and I apologize because I was promoting it that it was going to be this week. So if you're listening, anticipating that we're going to get into that, I do apologize for that. But I'm just not ready, because I need it to be right, and these 3 days really fucked me up. So give me a week to recharge, redesign, rebuild, and reclaim, baby, and I'll be back next week with the episode that you so desire. This also gives you another week to chime in even more. If you're listening to this right now, and I have a lot of people a lot of new listeners for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I'll say, a lot of new listeners. I jumped almost 250 downloads in a week, which is a huge number for me. Recently, very recently. This will be the fastest I break another 1,000. I'm about to hit 3,000 very soon, and we just celebrated 2,000, which means I'm getting new listeners. It has to be that. It's not the same people downloading the same episodes over time. It can't be. It's just too many downloads. So if you're listening for the first time and you don't really follow me on social media, this is a great time. Next week we're going to be doing relationships. Talk to me. Have you had a relationship that you let me rephrase. Are you in a long-term relationship that's going well? Are you in a long-term relationship that's going bad? Have you had relationships where you wished could have lasted longer? What did I do wrong? Anything you want to talk about as far as relationships go, please hit me up. The original topic, of course, was wrestling relationships, and I will correlate that. That will be a part of the conversation, but the feedback I was getting from people was so general. I mean, it really went outside the boundaries of just wrestling relationships. So if we're going to talk overall relationships just in life, I'm cool with that. If that's something you want to share. If you've got a wrestling related one, even better, because that was the main topic of what we were going to get to. So you can share that with me. You can email it to me, ajorsini96host@gmail.com. You can message me on any of the social medias, any way you'd like. Send me an audio clip, type it up, whatever you want to do. If you want to send me an audio clip, I can play it on the show, and people will hear your voice, not mine. I don't have to be the one to tell your story for you. You can tell your own story, and that's very much appreciated. And they can go on the show, and everyone will be a part of the conversation. I like when more people are a part of the conversation than just me. I don't have to be here by myself. You guys can chime in. So that's that. That's going to be next week. And we're going to get into some topics here tonight. I know we're already at the 20-minute mark, and I've just been sitting here rambling. But a lot of shit on my chest, a lot of shit on my mind. I want to take the time to thank, there was somebody in Ireland who downloaded the show. And I hope you're listening now. I hope you're listening. The show that he had downloaded one episode. It was, I'll say he or she. Excuse me. I don't know which one it was that downloaded. But they downloaded episode 45, Brothers of O. That was the one with me and my brother. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But that I bring it up because that makes 16 countries. That is the 16th country that has downloaded my show, and I am super appreciative and humbled by that. I'm not going to keep counting 16, 17, 18, over 15 countries sounds pretty tight. I'm gonna go with that. But I do want to announce, I already did on social media, that there's a 16th country, Ireland. Japan still hasn't heard my call. I guess it's because I keep saying that I'm not a New Japan guy. Is that why Japan's not jumping on the Orsini bandwagon? I still respect it. Hey, I've downloaded some of their shows, so you guys can give me a couple of downloads, right? That's how that works. Quid pro quo. We're going to scratch each other's back here. But Ireland is the 16th country to download the show. Thank you so much. Like I said about the numbers as well. My downloads right now are faster now than they've ever been, which is a good sign, all right? That's growth. That's progress. That's nice. So thank you guys for participating here, for downloading. I'm assuming you guys are enjoying. I have another, really quickly. There is someone, and I don't know if it's a one, I don't know if it's multiple people, I'm not entirely sure, but for some reason, Sweden in particular has jumped up immensely. Somebody or a group of people, I don't know, because I think I can't, they took away the IP addresses. I don't know, maybe for security reasons, I'm not sure, because it used to tell me if it came from the same computer or not. But I don't know if it's from the same computer, but I find it very hard to believe that it is, because someone or a group of people from Sweden downloaded a bunch of my shit over not even like in a day, but it's been pretty consistent over like the past few weeks. If you're listening to this episode right now from Sweden or from the United Kingdom, because they've also been pretty steadily downloading the show, please message me so I can thank you, because I don't know who it is. I can't tell. I cannot tell. Podbean is really good with their statistical stuff. And in the beginning, I was able to at least know that it was coming from different computers, but I don't know who it is. I can't, like, security-wise, I can't get in there to figure that out. So if you're listening to this, please shoot me a message. I'd love to thank you for downloading. I might even send you a shirt, man. Thanks for supporting the show out there in Sweden and the United Kingdom. Please hit me up. I probably shouldn't say Sweden like that. That might be the end of the downloads now. I might have just did myself in by me. I didn't mean to make fun, but that is how people say it on TV, right? Sweden. They would throw a little V sound in there. I don't know. See, correct me on that. I need your help so I can learn more about the Swedes. I would love to input some of that knowledge here on the show. So we do have some other topics that we needed to get into, and one of the topics, it was so funny. Because, like I said, I've been sick the last few days. Sick through my fucking face. And it got me thinking. Because I did not go to work because of my sickness. I did not feel well enough to go. And I happened to work at a place that encourages that behavior. Now, I have a work history that is kind of all over the map. But the one common denominator to pretty much all of my employment is that even though they had sick days, and I'm using air quotes right now, they didn't really expect or want you to take any of them. It wasn't very heavily encouraged. That's why you hear a lot of people sometimes, well, why don't you just take the day? Well, I don't really have the option of taking the day. I need to be there. Otherwise, I put my employment in jeopardy. They can't stop me from calling in sick, but they can frown upon it, and they can definitely keep that shit in mind. And when opportunities come around, you're not one of those people who get looked at. That's usually how that situation goes. So I'm 35 years old. I've pretty much been working a steady job since the age of 15. On and off, obviously, for layoffs and just being fired for stupid reasons, the things that I did. But pretty much consistently for about 20 years I've been working. And I've never really had a job that encourages the idea, if you're sick, stay home. For two reasons. A, you just don't feel right. You're not going to be productive. And B, we don't want you getting everybody else fucking sick. What is this, The Walking Dead? No, we don't want your fucking infection. Keep your Ebola to yourself. Stay the fuck home. Which is the vibe I get from my job. So when I first started working my current job, I know I'm not going to say what that current job is on the air because that's my fucking business. But this current job realized when I called the first time that something was really wrong because I don't get sick. Me personally, I don't get sick. I'm surprised I'm not sick more often because I don't really take care of myself like that. but I'm hardly ever sick. I'm the one who takes care of sick people. So if I'm sick, it's bad. So my job pretty much told me, you don't sound right, stay the fuck home. So I did. I was encouraged to stay home. And I spoke to a few of my friends about that because I wanted to let them know I wasn't feeling well because I had some things planned and I had to cancel them. So I told them, I said, I'm not feeling well. I'm really sick. I don't want you to catch anything. I'm just going to stay home. And they told me, hey, man, take the time, get well, yada, yada, all the cool shit. But it started getting me thinking because before, when I worked with those other jobs, I never called out. I just went in sick. That's just what happens. You go to work. I don't feel well. For most jobs, I don't feel well is not enough to not come to work. You have to be there. I was called in once, and this is not even an exaggeration. I was at a funeral, and I got called in. And it was basically bullied into doing it because it was one of those, well, if you don't come back type deals. And I really needed the job, and yada, 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 yada. So that's the kind of background that I have. So to be at a job where there's just like, I've got the sniffles. Stay home. I don't want to see it. It's going to make me nauseous. So they basically told me to stay home. But when I started thinking, what other jobs really have I done where I would have happily gone in sick or no sick? And the only thing that I can think of is when I would wrestle or when I was doing wrestling shows. Those are the times where I didn't even care if I was sick. I'm going to be there. Most of the times I go to jobs, I'm sick. I don't really want to fucking be here. This current job, if I'm not feeling well, I just don't go. But wrestling was the one job where I thought to myself, I don't give a fuck. I need to be there. Prime example. I was working, this is a true story. I'm working House of Glory. All right, House of Glory, hogwrestling.net. It's one of, if not the, you can make the argument, it's the biggest company in New York City, which is where I live. I live in Brooklyn. And not only am I working for the biggest company, I've worked my way up. I was with this company for 4 years. And I was doing everything from setting up chairs to recording interviews to doing interviews. I've told the story before. By this time, however, I am the lead play-by-play announcer for House of Glory. I'm the guy. I'm telling the stories. I'm working the whole show, the whole shebang. Right? With the exception of being in the ring, there's no higher position than being ringside calling this action. So I'm the top guy. And it just so happens, as we get toward the end of the year, this is one of the last years I was working there, the proposed dream match that everyone kept talking about, that my boss, the Amazing Red, wanted his entire life, was to one day face Rey Mysterio. And here we go. Rey Mysterio gets released earlier in the year. He's doing limited shots. We get Rey Mysterio at House of Glory. The dream match is set. Amazing Red versus Rey Mysterio. Now, we knew then that he was going to be doing limited shots, very selective on his appearances, and we knew at some point a major TV company would be picking him up. Now, future has taken place, 2020 hindsight here. We didn't know he'd be back in the WWE, but we did know that at some point he would be back somewhere. So we thought to ourselves, we've only got one shot. Let's make this a big deal. So they're doing all this promotion for it. It was a hell of a promotional tour, and the house was full. To this day, I do believe that is the biggest audience I've ever worked in front of. We're talking close to 2,000 people here in a small little, small, it's a pretty good size, but this club, Club at Missouri, as they now refer to it now, at the NYC Arena. And the match is set. The Amazing Red versus Rey Mysterio. And one time, that sentence gets thrown a lot. One time only, once in a lifetime. Rey Mysterio and the Amazing Red was once in a lifetime. The OG versus the Innovator. And the only voices that you'll hear on that match is me and the authentic Brandon Lewis. We were the commentators. We called that match. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I was in shitty health before that show. Shitty. Okay? Now you're hearing my voice say shitty and you're thinking, oh God, not another diarrhea story. No, not another diarrhea story. I didn't have diarrhea. I was suffering huge from migraines. My stomach was a mess. I did not feel well at all. I had the sweats. I don't know what the problem was. Now that I think back on it, I really didn't have the shits, but I did not feel well. And that was one of the rare times in my life where I was very angry because I didn't want to miss this once in a lifetime opportunity. I was going to get a chance to call the one match that everybody wants to see, including myself, and will never see again. This was once in a lifetime. I needed to be there. I needed to be there. And I mustered everything I could to get to that building on that night. And remember, it's the main event. You know, it's the main event, so I'm clearly I'm gonna be there all night. I am not. It's not like it's the opening match, you know. So I've got to sit there and I've got to call the whole match, and then save that energy for the last match. And so I was not feeling well. I powered through. We got through it. Honestly, we got through it. It was a good show, and I did the best that I could. But I legitimately saved all that I had for that. And afterwards, after the show was over, I felt even worse. That's when the shits did come. Like after that, I was trying to stay hydrated during the match, but I was during the show. But I was afraid that the more I drank, the more I'd have to pee. And when you do a 3-hour show and you only get like a 15-minute intermission, pissing is not an option. So I was kind of hoping, like, I was trying to balance this. It's like I know I need to hydrate because I don't feel well, but so that was one of the one times where I felt like I wanted, like sickness didn't really fucking matter to me. I needed to fucking be there. And I'm talking to one of my friends about this. I told them the story I just told you right now. Longer version, actually, because they kept asking questions. Oh, what was Ray like? And, did you get a chance to meet Ray? And did you interview him? I did everything with Ray. I worked with Ray. This is a thing that happened, yes. But I only worked with him the one time. That's why I don't brag about it. It only fucking happened once. You know, I hate these guys that work. I know guys who didn't even really work with talent. They just happened to be in the locker room with a star that was bought for that one show. You know, like a one-time stop. That's the one time that star is there, and they don't even really speak to him. They just happen to be in the same locker room, like they were in the Battle Royal, but Rey Mysterio was like in the main event. But everything for the next year was like, yeah, I met Ray. He's cool. We hung out. You know, it was a cool bro. It was like, come on, man. You didn't fucking work with anybody. That's why certain guys, like, I don't really brag about. Like, I worked a show. I worked in the same show as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But I don't brag about that. I didn't do shit with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I worked on the same show with him. I didn't genuinely work with him. You know, there was no interviews. There was no ring announcing. There was no going over the match. There was no general discussion. Now, the one outliner that I have, I think, is like Mick Foley. Mick Foley I've worked with a few times. Ring announcing, going over different ideas for spots, and you know, I need you to give me the mic here, and then we're going to go back and forth here. Like I carry a conversation with him, you know, in the ring or whatever the case may be. But there were a few shows where we didn't work with each other at all. We just had genuine conversations. You know, I'd pick his brain. He'd do the whole veteran knowledge thing, and you know, tell me how I can get better and all that different stuff. You know, that's the cool stuff. So, like, I don't really brag about that stuff, but I see people that do, and that's fine. But going back to the sickness thing, that's me powering through, but I'm not taking any bumps. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not really taking any bumps. As a wrestler, have I had situations where I've been sick and I've had to go wrestle? Absolutely. I have almost shit myself many a time for not feeling well and getting into the ring and then taking back bumps. And I'm sure any wrestler that's been in that position will tell you that it's not exactly the most comfortable place in the world to be. Inside of a wrestling ring is not where you want to be when you have tummy issues. That's the last place. I mean, if you go to the Stone Cold podcast right now, I'm sure you could find it somewhere when he tells the story of him wrestling Yokozuna in South Africa, and Yoko gives Stone Cold a basic scoop slam, and he shits himself in the middle of the ring, and CM Punk shitting his pants from all those antibiotics, and it's happened. Accidents happen. You get sick. My favorite sickness situation of all time. I'm gonna tell this story because it's it's hilarious. It's hilarious to me because of how badass it was. It was the most badass I'm sick look and feel in the history of badassery. It just goes to show that all of the success this individual has had in his career is all warranted. I'm gonna tell a Santana story. I don't even know if he's okay with me telling the story, but I don't give a fuck. It's my show. And I'm going to talk to him about it when I finally do get him on the show. Santana of LAX from Impact Wrestling, right? So I'm calling one of their matches. This is before LAX when they were EYFBO. And they're going against Private Party, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy from House of Glory. It's the House of Glory Tag Team title match. They're going back and forth, spot for spot. I mean, the athleticism from all four of these guys is amazing. If you ever get a chance on YouTube, check out EYFBO versus Private Party. That match not only was a House of Glory special, but that match has been done a few times in other places, and they steal it every time. It's a great rivalry between those two teams. And this particular match I'm talking about, though, they're going back and forth, and I can see like a little, I don't want to say queasiness, but something about Santana and Ortiz, for that matter, looked off, we'll say. So they started going spot for spot. All of a sudden, Ortiz and Santana just happened to be, happened to be on the top rope. They looked like they were going to go for some sort of a superplex on one of the wrestlers there. It might have been Cassidy. Quinn breaks up the superplex attempt. As Isaiah comes down, the two members of EYFBO turn around. So now they're both on the top rope facing the ring, not the audience. And Quinn goes up like he's going to do something, and the two guys break it up, and they knock Quinn down to the ring. And so now Quinn's on the ground, and the two EYFBO members are standing on the top rope. And out of nowhere, with no warning at all whatsoever, I don't know what's happening. I'm calling the match. I'm ringside. All of a sudden, Santana leans to his right and just fucking Ralphs right there. He just, like it just comes right out of his fucking mouth. He just starts Ralphing right on the fucking floor. I mean, full stream of vomit. No break. Just straight coloration hitting the ground. Wipes his mouth because he's got the tape and all that stuff. He wipes his mouth, turns back to where he's supposed to be facing, and without missing a beat, Mark Quinn goes. He's standing in the ring. He does a vertical leap into the air and does a Hurricane Rana on the two members of EYFBO into the ring. It was a dope spot. The vomit, in my opinion, made it doper because Santana had just vomited in between the spot. While they're setting the spot up, he's barfing on the side, and he takes the full fucking Hurricane on a top rope bump into the ring. He just threw up. He takes the bump into the ring. The match continues on, and it was fluid. It was almost like he never even got sick. They're wrestling. They're going back and forth. The match is over, and Santana is literally walking around the ringside area like nothing happened. Actually, he looked better than before. I guess he got it out of his system. Now, I'm calling the match, okay? At the time, House of Glory only really had, I'll say 3 cameras, maybe 2 roams and a hard. And the vomit happened. He was on the right side. I guess you could say if you were facing the ring, he's on the right side between the two guys. Hard's on the left of him. So the hard can't pick up, I don't think, what he's doing because he's leaning to his right. The 2 roams, for some oddball reason, it's a Cardinal sitting for this to happen, but for some reason, both roams happen to be on the same side, just on different ends of the post. One was following Isaiah because there was some sort of storyline thing happening to the left, and then the other camera guy was paying attention to Quinn. So it didn't seem to me, based on where I was, that anybody was picking up on what Santana was doing. So I didn't call it. I just called the match as it was. Because remember, the rule in commentary, you don't call what you see in the ring, you call what you see in the monitor. Now, I don't have a monitor directly in front of me, but I have to call what the camera catches. And I wasn't entirely sure that the cameras had caught that. So I left it alone. When the match was over, uh, I think there was like one more match, and then we had intermission. During intermission, I got up to go take a piss. Santana walks over to me after the piss, not during the piss, but he walks over to me. He goes, "You look like you popped hard for the vomit." I said, "Because it was amazing. You're a badass." He's like, "Did you call it?" I was like, "No, I did not call it." And I explained why. I don't think the cameras caught it. And he said, "Oh, thank God." I was like, "Okay, so you did not want me to call it?" He goes, "No, I don't want to make it look like I vomit during fucking matches. This is before LAX, so he was being very TV conscious. He's like, I don't want people thinking that I'm just going to start puking, that I'm all blown up. I can't. I said, well, why the fuck did you throw up? And he was like, bro, I have been sick all fucking day. And I told the guys when I got in here, dude, I don't want to do too much here because I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it. And of course, they planned 8 million things, and I don't feel well. Da, da, da. So I'm thinking to myself, and this is why I'm telling this story, because I think it all comes full circle here to what we're talking about as far as this sickness goes, that in the wrestling business, you don't really have the option of being sick. That's not something you can do. You can't call in sick to a wrestling show. You just can't. Now, it's fucked up because a lot of these guys are in close quarters, obviously. You're sweating on top of each other, spitting on top of each other. You're in each other's faces doing all kinds of shit. You got a fucking sickness or a disease or some shit. The other guy it's almost guaranteed 100%. The other guy's going to fucking get it. From what I understand, Quinn and Cassidy did not get sick, but Ortiz did. Ortiz got super sick and was none too happy about it. But at the moment, Santana was the only one sick. And he just roughed it all up. And it got me thinking because it got me thinking because all these guys, they work hurt, they work tired, they work sick. I've heard stories and I've seen them. People with bulging discs in their back and damn near, my shoulder popped out yesterday, but it's back in now. And I'm like, yeah, but it's swollen to bejesus and back. Taped up and iced up, and doctors sitting ringside just waiting for your shit to fall out. And that's the sacrifice you make. That's the sacrifice you make for something that you love to do. Trust me, if you're in the indie level, you're doing this for love. You ain't doing it for fucking pay. It's nice to get a good payday every now and then, but it ain't enough. People say, well, you can make good money on the indies. Oh, yeah, certain people can. Not everybody's going to make good money on the indies, even the really talented ones. I mean, it's very hard. The promoters only really have but so much they can dedicate to the talent. Only so many people are going to get those spots. Can you make that kind of money? Sure. But you'd have to be the elite. Not the actual elite. The Young Bucks, Girl, Omega, Cody, like those are the elite. Elite. Be elite. Those are the really elite. But, you get my point. You'd have to be top tier to make real money on the indie level because a lot of these promoters, they just don't have that kind of fucking money. They don't have that money because they don't generate that kind of money. When people, it's funny because I think fans have lost the idea of what independent really is. When people say, well, you can make money on the independent level, then they go, yeah, like New Japan. New Japan's not a fucking indie company, dude. New Japan is the second, and some people truly believe the biggest wrestling company in the world. There's nothing fucking indie about those fucking guys. They have got all kinds of investors and sponsors and all kinds of shit going on over there. I don't know if they're publicly traded. I don't think so. I haven't researched it at all, but even if they weren't, that'd be really hard for me to look at. They're on TV. They've got pay-per-views. They've got their own network, for Christ's sake. Indie stretching it when you put New Japan in there. I think it's stretching it when you say Ring of Honor. I've had that conversation here on the show before. But for these indie companies, you don't make a whole lot of money. You just don't. And anybody that tells you any different is fucking lying to you. And I don't think it really helps to lie about it. If you don't want to talk about your money, that's fine. But to give these people the impression that you're making a shit ton of money by being on the indies is just kind of really fucked up and misleading because it's giving these people the impression that this life is just so peachy keen and wonderful that it really isn't. And what happens is they get this idea in their head that wrestling is like just another job. I'll just take a test and, like being a cop or being a fireman, I'll just take a government test. I'll train my hardest and I'll see what happens. That's not how that works here. You know, being a police officer is a physical job, and I'm sure you do a lot of physical training for it. But if all goes well, you don't do anything physical. In wrestling, if all goes well, you're doing more physical shit than the normal person. The wrestling business is built to destroy your body. Going into it sick, not the best fucking plan of attack. It's just not. You can't go into that shit sick. You'll fucking kill yourself in the ring. Are you fucking shitting me? And the fucking thing is you can't tell them you're sick. I can't make it. I have the flu. All right, fuck out of here then. Give me my plane ticket money back. Give me my fucking booking fee back. Give me my deposit back. I want all that shit back. What do you think? You tell the promoter, hey, I have the fucking flu. You know, I have the fucking flu. I can't go. You think they're gonna go? All right, no problem, Bob. Just hold on to the money. You're gonna be all right. No, they want all their shit back. I didn't pay you to have the flu. I paid you to be on the show. So give me my motherfucking money back. That's how that shit goes. That's why they used to say back in the day. You know, they used to say it all the time back in the day. You don't work, you don't eat. Nowadays, that's not really true because a lot of guys nowadays, they have day jobs now. It's not like before where you can work. You know, there were a lot of people who, you know, back in the territorial days, if you couldn't get work in a certain territory, you left and you just got as many bookings as you can. You were working Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and possibly Mondays and possibly Wednesdays. You were working a lot back in those days. Wrestling shows were all over the place. They had different times. They had different days. It's not like now where you almost entirely have shows on the weekend. No one does Monday through Thursday shows anymore. They're terrified of that idea. Who's going to go to a wrestling show on Tuesday? Me. I would go to a wrestling show on Tuesday if it was a fucking good show. And I think a lot of wrestling fans would. But the problem is I don't think there's enough wrestling fans for a promoter to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to put on a show during the week just so we can circumvent some of the expenses that we have. See, the less shows you run, the less money you make. The less money you make, the less money you have for talent and for production and for venues and for licensing and for medical and for a lot of shit. So there's not a whole lot of money in it. There just isn't. And yet still, with a lung in your fucking hand, you've got to go to the fucking show. You've got to do what you got to do. So it just made me appreciate more. Like I said, I rarely ever get sick. So now that I have been sick as a dog, it just brought me back to that and made me think about it. And it makes me think when you guys, you guys being fans, start taking this shit, start taking this shit way too far, this fandom. When the whole airport thing and the whole, putting shit on eBay stuff. Like, that's why I think subconsciously, I never really thought about it that deep as I did recently about why it makes me so fucking angry when I see these fans who walk up to people and like, I want a photograph or I want an autograph, and then they say no, and they just, oh, you fucking sell out, you're a piece of shit. And I think that's why it really gets me mad, because you're talking, you don't know what you're talking about. You really don't understand. I've been privileged myself to have been in the inner circle and to see how this works and to see the inner workings of what it really takes to be a wrestler and to be an announcer and to be a referee and to be on the road and to try to get bookings and to book other talent and book the right way and book talent correctly and use them in ways they should be used and not just the way they want to be used, and all this studying of tapes and styles, and that way you can project your ideas onto talent and to book this particular finish because it makes sense for this and it leads you to that and connect these dots. You guys have no idea. Truly no idea what it entails to do all of that. So when you see a wrestler on the street and you act the way that you act, that's why I think I get so fucking offended by it. It really does, no joke, it really does trigger me because it's just ridiculous. It's like, you have any fucking clue what I'm sacrificing to give you 15 minutes of fucking greatness, of me going out there and entertaining you the best way I fucking can? Can you imagine doing your job? Right? Imagine you were a baker, right? You bake for a living, and that's a tough job. You're sitting next to a fucking oven for 8 hours a day minimum, because some bakers do it all goddamn day. They're there 12 hours a day, dedicated every day, at best 6 days a week. Maybe you'll get somebody to cover you on Sunday. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, in front of a fucking oven. and you're just baking and you're baking the best shit anyone eats. You know, that's the best fucking bread, the best fucking danishes. I mean, you just cooking it up a storm, man. You're the ultimate baker, right? You're doing all this shit. And then you leave your shop. You're going home, long day work. You bump into somebody who eats at your shop regularly. You just happen to bump into them, and they look over to you and they say, "Hey, man, how you doing? I recognize you. You're that baker over on 13th Street, right?" And you say, "Yeah. That's where I work at. I'm a baker over there at 13th Street. You're right." He goes, "Yeah, man, I love that shop, man. I used to go over there all the time." It's like, "Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to hear that." He's like, "Yeah, I used to go over there all the time, but you guys stopped making the blueberry muffins. Now that place is a piece of shit." Oh, God, are you fucking kidding me right now? Oh, my God. Think about that for a second. The balls that it fucking takes to just walk up to somebody and just be like, "Yeah, I used to. It's a piece of shit now." That's how you guys fucking sound. Seriously. It's like, are you serious? All this shit that I do this shit for you guys so you guys can enjoy this one thing. And I dedicate literally my life to it so that you guys can be entertained for it. Whatever. On demand. On demand. You guys can see this work anytime you want. $9.99 a month. And that's how you guys treat it. You guys are just like, "Yeah, it used to be great. Now not so much. It's just a piece of shit now." Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Crazy. I don't want to end this show on a sour note, and I don't want you guys to believe that what I'm about to say is really all that negative. But I do want to talk about something real quick before I end this episode. This episode, again, was not exactly what I intended it to be, but I'm glad that I had it because it's a very reflective episode. I'm glad I got a chance to tell you guys some stories about me, man. I usually give you guys stories about other fucking people, so I'm glad I got a chance to give you guys some insight on some shit that I've done. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully I'll get some people on to confirm these stories that I'm telling you so you guys don't think I'm bullshitting you. I'm not blowing you here. I really did some cool shit in my career, man. But I want to end this with a story. I woke up this morning. Like I said, I wasn't feeling well yesterday. So I woke up this morning to a very terrible story, and it's kind of been the theme of this show when you think about it. So just really quickly, before we go off the air here, last night, about 40 miles south of Los Angeles, Ventura County, there was another mass shooting here in the United States, over in California. 12 dead, including one police officer who responded to the call. It was at a bar and grill, Border Town Bar and Grill. Up to a couple hundred, they said. There was a lot of people there. He only managed to get 12. I don't know his name. I don't care about his name. Not the point of this story. There is one name I do know. His name is Sergeant Ron Ellis, and he is a highway patrol officer. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell was a highway patrol officer doing at the bar and grill? And I will explain. This was a mass shooting situation. The guy used smoke grenades to confuse the patrons. He literally got a gun. So far, all they found is a handgun, but people are reporting there's definitely more than a handgun involved in this. The shots that were reported to have been heard were definitely more rapid fire than a handgun is capable of doing. More investigation. This literally just happened yesterday, so the investigation's still ongoing. I don't know all the solid facts just yet, except for one major one, which is what I'm going to get into here. Sergeant Ron Ellis. Let's talk about. I don't care about the shooter. I don't give a fuck about him. He's dead. He's gone. So I'm not going to sit here and put the kid over. Fuck that guy. I will put over Sergeant Ron Ellis, because here's what happened with this. A few episodes ago, maybe a few, I did this big rant about a particular mass shooting. I don't speak about them all because, unfortunately, here in the United States, there are far too many of them for anybody to cover. That's up to CNN and CNBC. That's not my job. I do mention the ones that I can because it's unfortunate and you want to give your sympathies out to the family. But this one I definitely want to talk about because I did a rant on the last one that I spoke about, which for the life of me I can't remember where it was, and I apologize for that. But the basis of the rant is there was a shooter on the grounds of a school, and a call was put out that there was police assistance needed, and the call was put out by, I believe, two gentlemen who were armed guard. I think they were police. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember they were on the premises. They heard the shots. And what they did was they vacated the premises immediately to the outside and began establishing a perimeter, and then awaited for the police to come. And when the police came, they had refused to go inside, and the police officers went in, and the armed guards stayed on the outside, still maintaining the perimeter. And I went on this big rant because I thought that was the most disgusting thing I had ever heard in my entire life. And I'm basing this off of experience. Not that I've been involved in a mass shooting, because I have not. But the experience that I have had is the basic armed guard training that these men were required by law to take. I've taken that training. And I do know that unless otherwise authorized, in a situation like that, you are to respond. You do not have the option of saying, I don't really want to go in there. That's not what this job is. If you don't feel it's enough, you're not getting paid enough to go in there, that's cool. Don't take the job. That's part of the rant that I had all that time ago. And I said the sentence, and this is why I'm bringing it back up, coming full circle here. I said the sentence during that rant that and my wife wasn't happy that I said it, but it's the damnedest of truths. If my life meant saving one other life, meaning if this guy's killing 20, 30 people, the fucking numbers are going up, right? And I come in, guns a-blazing, I go toe-to-toe with this asshole, and he kills me. But in the process of him fighting me and killing me, one other person ran away and was able to get free. I saved one life. Then it's fine. I'm okay with that. I can die peacefully knowing that. That's how I felt about the situation. Now, that was my rant then. So let's fast forward to last night. Last night, a call was put in, the Border Town Bar and Grill. There's a shooter on the premises, shooting at patrons, calling all cars situation. Highway patrol officers, Sergeant Ron Hellis and his partner, he was a partner with him, were on duty, and they just happened to be, I don't even know if they were on that route or if the route was ending or whatever the case may be, they just happened to be the nearest car to the scene. So they took the call, told the operator we're en route, awaiting backup. They got to the scene. They did not wait for the backup. They engaged immediately. They went inside. They saved way more than one life. And in the process, Sergeant Ron Hillis was shot. We have learned since then fatally. I'm going to call him Ron. That would be disrespectful. The sergeant was taken to the hospital for his wounds, and he died in the hospital. He died from his injuries. Sergeant Ron Hellis was a 29-year veteran. He was literally on his last year before retirement, which he was looking very much forward to. 1 year away from retirement. He gave 29 years of his life to the badge and to the shield and to his community. And he passed away doing the one thing that I told everybody on the planet is the one thing you're supposed to do. He backed up the claim. Now, there's two ways to look at this. This is why I'm bringing it up. Fuck the shooter, and I'm not going to sit here and debate mass shootings. Just like the last time we had one, I'll say it again. There is no fucking way to stop them. This situation is completely 100% unstoppable in the frame of what we do here in this country. We grant freedom to our citizens. That's a problem because this is what happens when you get your freedom. There are people who know how to utilize freedom correctly. There are those who do not. And for as long as we have that set up, this is the bad that comes with the good. Human nature. Not for everyone, but everyone has their own set of traits and characteristics, and cold-blooded murder is a human trait and a human characteristic. It's what it is. Look at a history book. You'll see a nice long list of cold-blooded murderers that exist in infamy. Not only did they exist, we will never forget them. We ensure it. We make history book chapters about them, documentaries about them. The History Channel is littered with some of the worst people on the fucking planet. We celebrate it. Pearl Harbor has its own movie. We have a 9/11 movie, for Christ's sake. This is what we do. We're humans. So I'm not going on that road again. I'm here to talk about something positive. Positive. We're going to get to that right here. Sergeant Ron Hellis. He did not hesitate. He did not second guess. His entire objective was to save lives. That was his whole motive. So there's two ways to look at this. I'll give you the first one, which is not mine, and the second one is definitely my line of thinking. The second one is, there are people who would tell me, who have told me today, since, because, it's a hot topic conversation, that the people, I believe it was Florida, now that I'm thinking about it, because I think one of the people I was talking to said Florida. The two guys from Florida, okay, they did not go in. And I called them cowards, and I called them assholes, and I wished evil things upon those men for their decision to allow children to die. Imagine that. I held these men responsible for the lives that were lost under their care. Imagine that. And I was told that while Sergeant Ron Hellis is indeed a hero for his actions, he's dead. So who's the smarter of the four? The two guys who did not go in and live, or the two guys who went in and died? And that's a very logical way of thinking about it, because you know what? Two guys, first of all, two guys didn't die. One guy died. All right? The two guys who lived, they lived because they were too afraid, essentially, to go in. Now, since then, we've heard that they received word from their officer, from their, I don't know why I'm losing the word right now, their superior officer, their SO, that they were told not to go in. But here's the difference in situations. They waited for that call. Sergeant Ron Hellis did not give his superior officer the opportunity to make that call. They called it in. They went in. It was that simple. Fast, easy, peasy. It shouldn't have gone through a chain of command. There are people dying right now. There's no waiting in that situation. But again, I'll get to my point in a second. Let's continue on with the whole who was smarter idea. Right? That's what people were saying to me today. They're saying, well, they may be cowards, but they're alive. Is it really living, though? Are you really alive? You really think those two guys who let those kids die, you really think they're living life, that they're okay, everything's cool, hey, I get to spend time with my family? Or you think that the families who spoke up against those two guys and basically put the deaths, the blood of those children in their hands, you really think they're living good lives? I don't know. Maybe they are. I myself personally, I think you'd have to be one evil son of a bitch to know that you were involved. You could have stopped kids from dying, and you chose not to out of your own insecurity and fear. I'd have a hard time living with that. But this brings me to a second point, and an even larger point. And I'm going to end with this. This is how the show is going to end, because I want it to end with a message. All right, this is how I'm going to leave you with this episode. Sergeant Ron Hellis has been named a hero pretty much throughout the entire 24-hour period in which he's lost his life. He responded as quickly as he could. He took action in the best way that he could, and he gave the ultimate sacrifice to ensure several, not just one, but several people lived. The bad guy in question, the shooter, was found dead in the bar when police backup finally arrived, which gives you the impression that someone got him before the rest of the cops got there. Was it Sergeant Ron Hellis? I don't know. Was it the partner? Who knows? Did a patron who just happened to be there get a hold of a gun and take the guy out? Again, investigation is taking place. We'll all know more. The point is, that situation does not get contained without Sergeant Ron Hellis there. Now again, I'll repeat. I stated that if my life meant saving one, I'm okay. Sergeant Ron Hellis gave his life and saved several. That is beyond heroism. And he took that chance in a time where he didn't have to. 29 years in, mere months away from retirement. What kind of a person who thinks logically makes that decision? Not many. Not many. Probably none. If you're thinking logical, if you're a logical person, you give 29 years of your life. 29 years. This bar was filled with people who weren't even born when he started his career. You're going to give your life to that? Yes, you will. Or at least, yeah, he did. He didn't even think about it. He just did it. That's called heroism. That's what being a hero is. Being a hero is doing the right thing, knowing full well it could mean bad things for you. Being a hero means doing the right things in spite of the fact that everyone else won't do that thing. Being a hero means doing the right thing for no reward. Doing the right thing because it's doing the right thing. That's it. He took an oath. He knew what his job was. And we live in a world right now where everyone's pointing a finger at cops and saying he's the bad guy. He's overusing his power. He's hiding behind the badge. This guy is a jerk. This guy does this. This guy does that. Sergeant Ron Hillis is a goddamn hero. He is the symbol of everything that you're supposed to be as a police officer. And to be honest with you, he's the image of everything we're supposed to be as fucking men. But that idea, the idealism of man, has changed so much, it's almost like seeing someone do this, to most guys, just seems stupid. I've heard it a lot today, actually, from the mouths of a lot of 20-something-year-old guys who legitimately, I've heard it two ways. He's stupid, or they can't believe that he did it. They can't comprehend the idea of doing something like that. I spoke to a gentleman today. He's 25 years old. Good guy. Smart guy. Good guy, smart guy, really intelligent. And he told me to my face, I don't have, nor do I think I know anybody who has the courage to do what he did. I don't know if my initial reaction would be, save those people. I think my initial reaction to my brain and my initial reaction from my heart would be self-preservation. I can't go in there, at least not by myself. And Ron did have his partner with him. I did it again. Sorry. Sergeant Ron had a partner with him. But based on everything that was told today about this gentleman and based on the situation that we heard and the facts that we do know, it doesn't sound like he's the kind of person that would have waited anyway. I think he was dead set on doing what he does best, and that's save lives. Now, today, or should I say last night, it cost him his very life. But that's heroism. It doesn't matter if you're 2 years old or if you're 92 years old. The right thing is still the right thing. If you have the capability, the physical capability to stop an evil thing from happening, it is your responsibility to do that. Just like it's a line from a movie, and it's it's laughable when used in the wrong context, but it's a very true statement. You know, when you what was it? It was Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War, when they were talking about Spider-Man and or Iron Man was talking to Spider-Man, when he said, "When you can do the things that I can do, and the bad things happen, and you don't stop it, they happened because of you," and that's heroism. That's what it means to be a hero. I'm 35 years old. I grew up with heroes. I'm not entirely sure my son has any fucking heroes. Who are the heroes right now? Who are the heroes? You go on social media right now. Point to me to a fucking hero online right now. That was the whole point of social media. The networking. To get opinions and thoughts out there. So that we can be better as society. So we can be more informed. So we don't have to stay the ignorant. To get all of our news from one anchor or one news source. To vet out situations. To eliminate the bad. And focus on the good. That's what the networking system was supposed to be about. To an interchanging of ideas, to get the thought processes directly. You wouldn't have to do any consensus thought process. You could do right to the people, right to the source. I could put a poll out right now and get 100 or 200 votes on it, and get the actual sample size of what's really being thought and considered out there. That's what this was supposed to be, but it's not. We got people blocking each other because of political views, family members no less, brothers and sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, blocking each other because they voted red, or they have the mass shooting last night. You know, we had the mass shooting last night, and right on cue with every mass shooting, gun control debate. Oh, I'm blocking this individual. I can't have that kind of negativity in my life. Why? Because they had a difference of opinion. It's negativity. This isn't the world that we live in right now. There are no heroes. Until last night, anyway. That was the epitome of heroism. Now, it was a bit much. It cost him his life. It was the ultimate sacrifice. There are smaller prices to pay for true heroism. But to be willing to pay the ultimate price for not having any hesitation in doing so, for taking that last gulp of air and going into that building knowing everybody was running out. It's just like when I told people before, when the cop thing was really huge, and I said on this very show, I could never point at a cop and be like, you are bad, without truly knowing the cop and just going based off of news or media or whatever. I'd have to know this cop before I say he's trash because of 9/11. I know way too many people who were downtown. I'm from New York. I know too many people who were downtown during that time period when everybody was running out. Those people were running the fuck in. Okay? That's heroism. And last night, we got a smaller version of that, but he paid the ultimate price, and I have to hand it to him. So now I end it by saying this. For those of you within the sound of my voice, and I'm not trying to be fucking Dr. Phil over here, but I'm just being honest about you, or about the situation. You have the option of being a hero. Every single day, we're faced with the opportunity of being a hero. The problem is we think of it as almost an obligation, whereas it could be an opportunity. I try that myself every single day. I try to pick something out where I can be the hero on this and do right by somebody, even if it means that I'm not going to do right, or even if it means someone's not going to do right for me. I'll do favors for people knowing full well I'm not going to get that favor back, and that's fine. You don't do to owe, you just do. Okay, you can help a person out. You can go just about beyond you can go just about to your means. You can go above and beyond your own means to help somebody out. The point is when someone is in peril and you have an opportunity and an ability to save that person from that situation, it is your obligation to do so. That's what heroism is. If you're listening to this and saying, fuck that, that's fine. It's your own fucking thing, but you're no fucking hero. Stop calling yourself a fucking hero for helping somebody and then turn around and say, well, I help everybody, nobody helps me. So what? That's what makes you a fucking hero. If you want and demand the favor returned to you, you're no fucking hero. It's a barter system. It's a favor upon a favor. There's nothing heroic about you at all whatsoever. All right, so if you did it for the pat on the back, then take the fucking pat on the back if they give it to you. If not, then that's it. Sergeant Ron Hellis last night, had he lived, would have been revered as a hero. But in Ron's life, it would have just been Wednesday. And in a few months, he would have retired and he would have been home hanging with his family, completely well-deserved in his retirement. But he didn't make it because he was too goddamn busy being a goddamn hero. So fuck the shooter, fuck the shooting, and thank you to Sergeant Ron Hellis. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that were in that building that thank him as well. I know his family has to be crushed because he was right there at the cusp. So I know they've got to be crushed, but he did the right thing. He did the one thing I would do. And he did the one thing I'm sure that a lot of people wish they could do and have the courage to do. And I hope one day someone along the line finds the courage to do that again. And when I gave my analogy before, if my life can mean the life of another, then I would be fine with that. You know how I rationalize that? My son. If my son was in that bar right now, and Sergeant Ron Hillis did not go in to save my son, as is his duty, as is his job, as is his obligation, yeah, there'd be hell to pay. So I put that onus on myself. If your son or your daughter was in that bar, I'm going in after them. Can you say the same? If not, you're no fucking hero. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, why do I need to be a hero? You don't. You don't need to be a hero. But just think about it for a little bit. You could be. I think that's the thought process, right? I don't need to be a hero. Therefore, I don't need to do anything to be a hero. Well, what about the other way? You don't need to be a hero, but you could be. You don't have to die to do it. I'm not saying go out there and get killed. Little things, baby steps. Work your way up to it. But try. Try to be that hero. You'd be surprised how many lives you can change in the process. I've been sick all week. My wife is my hero. Because even in her own sickness, we all still did things as a team. She's the ultimate partner. I'll never find anybody on the planet that works as well with me as she does. Everyone has their own little heroes. It might be your mom. It might be your dad. It might be your teacher. Everyone has heroes in some way. But the position is needing. Help wanted sign is outside Hero HQ right now. So I'm going to leave you with that. And we'll be back next week with the relationship relationship shit. And we'll learn a little bit more about heroes then, because let me tell you something. I'm a hero in that department. I'm the best at relationships. So you guys are going to get a chance to chime in and talk about that next week. And once again, think about what I'm telling you here. Think about it. I know this is supposed to be an entertainment show, but I'm leaving this with you to think about. Think about it. How much of a hero are you really? You don't have, on a scale of your local postman bringing you your check to Sergeant Ron Hillis, where do you land here? There's a gray area here. So give us some thought. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And, of course, thank you for enjoying episode 61. Check out 62 next week. Deuces. Much like a popular television show says all the time, winter is coming. I don't know what show that is because I'm not up on my pop culture, but I will tell you this, winter is indeed coming, and winter gets chilly. You know how you can counteract chilly? You know how you can counteract cold? Clothing. That's right, the more clothing you have on, the better a chance you have of surviving those frigid temperatures. You know what the color of this particular winter is? Gray. You didn't know that? I don't know what it really is either, but I can tell you it's gray because it fits into my agenda. And my agenda is to let you guys know that you can fight those frigid temperatures by wearing the Orsini's Uncensored Mind official t-shirt. It's a sports gray. It's very needed. It's very nice. You guys can get that by going to prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM.
At my house. Listen to my daddy so. Orsini is mine.